The first painting I did when I went into graduate school was this one. Was called 24th Nightmare. This one I worked in oils, once again on masonite. How I got this fish was another story. I found it in my aunt's kitchen on the side. She said some decorator left it off and she was more than happy to give it to me. So anyways, artists collect stuff. When you go into my house is pretty clean and meticulous, but then when you go into my studio, I collect stuff because I can never tell where they might just pop up into my subconscious and ultimately into my paintings. This is an aviation chart of the Chicago area. And you can kind of see where the scientific illustration kind of worked into something like this. I could suspend gravity if I want to. And you're talking about alien environments. What you have in the background is a typological chart of the Grand Canyon. Every time I'm out west, I feel like I'm on a foreign planet. I mean, you come from the Midwest where it's green, you go out there and it's just desert and nothing, and things go dust storms and things. So that kind of started me thinking about, the solar system. So then I put in the chart of the solar system. At that point, I was still putting in, let's say, implements of my trade, which is as an artist. So there's all my pencils. This one, I wanted to show a progression of the candy I started eating as a kid and all the tools of the trade. So crayons, moving on to tech pens, and moving into paintbrushes, and once again, the Earth in relation to the solar system. This one kind of goes back to my experiences as a scientific illustrator. So I have some specimens there, like real specimens, and then I have fun specimens, sort of like in the ball jar on the right. It's one of those spongy creatures you put in water that expands into being an alligator or some other kind of lizard or bug. So I got interested in feathers as another. I've always been interested in feathers, and I decided to make some creatures out of them, more or less. So I put them together, and I had to have a couple different kinds of creatures. So you have the main big white, bluish white one, and then you had sort of like the two that are sort of like guarding them, because they, what you have there is these feathers, and you have like the central ball which glows, and then you also have sort of porcupine quills sticking out there for defense. And then the background, the idea for that was like glow sticks. This one was a little bit different too, where once again I was still interested in that glow stick kind of thing, and also origami birds that fly, and then I put in another glowing object and a nest and another origami bird. And also subatomic particles shooting at it. I took this turtle shell, made it into my boat, stranded in the desert. And of course you have to have flying fish in the middle of the desert as some kind of hallucination. So that was like a print that I did, and also this one with my winged trees. Why not? If you can imagine it, if you could draw it real enough, why not? If you're doing in sci-fi, if you're doing in movies, and an image comes on the screen, it better be believable, because it has to grab you instantly. It has to be real. It has to be almost super real in these movies today for you to be drawn in. You in Ender's Game, you probably can connect with the person Ender, and you also have to be drawn into the environment and the situation. So that's something I've always been interested in my own work, to make it as believable as possible, so when people see the paintings, they just are drawn in, and then they pull back and think about them.